Special counsel Robert Mueller breaking a 2-year silence today, announcing his resignation from the Justice Department and his belief that he was constitutionally barred from charging President Trump with a crime. But he made sure to point out his report does not exonerate President Trump from obstruction. So that this statement opened the door even more for impeachment. Many in Congress, of course, already are saying yes, and Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler saying just moments ago, nothing is off the table.
With respect to impeachment question, at this point, all options are on the table, and nothing should be ruled out. What Special Counsel Mueller said loud and clear today for the American people is that President Trump is lying when he says no collusion, no obstruction, and that he was exonerated.
But Pelosi pointing out in a statement, as I mentioned, that calmed the markets, she didn't mention the I word in her statement. And so I want to bring in progressive radio host Leslie Marshall, also Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. Leslie, let me start with you. I mean, listen, Jerry Nadler, we know he's been one of the main proponents of impeachment. He just said that President Trump wasn't exonerated of anything. It felt like the collusion part was already out. Nevertheless, this is a dangerous gambit. You can see from Nancy Pelosi's statement that she doesn't mention impeachment. And it really seems pretty clear she is still resistant to going down this path.
Well, there are a couple of things here, Charles. One is that Speaker Pelosi has time and time again said that she needs to have a smoking gun, if you will, and she needs to have bipartisan support. She only has one Republican right now. There are approximately 34 Democrats, which is not the majority, that are calling for impeachment, 40 if you believe all reports of people out there. You also have to look at not just the responsibility of Congress, the House's congressional oversight of the executive branch. And clearly, I think that Special Prosecutor Mueller was saying, look, I'm passing the buck, Congress, do your job. But doing their job doesn't necessarily lead to impeachment. There are two things here, three actually. One, polls show majority of Americans don't want impeachment. Right. Two, even though majority of Democrats that voted in the midterm election to put the Democrats in control of the House, that they want impeachment, what they really want is removal of the president. That's not going to happen with a Republican-controlled Senate. And then three, history. When Bill Clinton was impeached, it was Newt Gingrich, Speaker of the House, a Republican, who stepped down. Republicans lost seats in the House and the Senate, and Bill Clinton's ratings went high, went through the roof.
It certainly backfired big time, Ford. So Nancy Pelosi, though, was already under immense pressure before this. Remember last week when she came out that meeting on Wednesday and she charged President Trump with a cover-up. So, everyone in her party who was emboldened then must feel even more emboldened right now. What do you make of it? You're in D.C.
Well, let me say this. Contrary to what Chairman Nadler says, Robert Mueller didn't say Donald Trump's guilty of anything. And I absolutely agree with Leslie, this may be a first here, that essentially what Nancy Pelosi knows is that a majority of Americans do not want Trump impeached. Further, a majority of Americans, if you look at the Monmouth poll, are also telling you that they don't want Pelosi to investigate Trump any further. They want him to move on to the people's business. And if you look at the Fox poll, which is absolutely amazing here, only 33% of independents want to see President Trump impeached. What Pelosi knows is that if you impeach Trump, you're going to wind up reelecting him unless something completely changes in this narrative. And there's nothing that Mueller said today that was not in the 400-page report, Charles.
Justin Amash, he immediately tweeted out, the ball is in our court, Congress. Ford, we know he's the Republican who thinks that President Trump should be impeached. He's the one who makes it a bipartisan issue, if you will. And he immediately jumped out there to sort of lead this parade. The media is going to be all over this. Could things change? Could public opinion be swayed in the next few days?
Absolutely not. First of all, who is Justin Amash? He's been against Donald Trump since before even Trump was elected. He has it out for Trump, period. He's basically playing for his own libertarian presidential bid. And essentially, unless you've got something earth-shattering, basically public opinion's pretty baked in. And that's why Pelosi is basically pushing back against her caucus, because she knows it's a loser. Based on what we said in the 1990s, as Leslie pointed out, when Clinton got impeached, his approval ratings went up 10%. Remember the biggest problem.
Why does that happen? Let me ask you, Leslie, why does that happen? Why does that, why does the public immediately, gravitate like that? What is it? Do you think that perhaps in this case, after 2 years, millions of dollars, they would feel like this was indeed presidential harassment?
Well, I can't compare Trump to Clinton, and I can't compare 2019
but
to them. But
Pelosi believes that history sets a precedent for this, and so she's reluctant to do this. And President Trump has talked about harassment. She must believe that the public would be inclined to believe maybe this is presidential harassment. Maybe after 2 years and millions of dollars, this would go too far, impeachment.
I wouldn't go as far as what you said, because like she did say there's a cover up. Look, it's what I'm hearing is, can we read between the tea leaves here, which is the president did something. We feel he obstructed justice. I've had many attorneys who said to me, this is clearly witness tampering. However, he's a sitting president, can't be indicted. Okay, so Congress has their job. What can they do to punish the president? They can impeach him. But how do you do that if you didn't have the evidence in the chain of evidence to prosecute, okay, even if you could indict a sitting president, right? Then how can you come forth with impeachment? And again, even if they do impeach, it's going to be a yay vote because Democrats have the majority. It's going to be symbolic. It's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly, Charles. Here's the biggest thing barring President Trump right now from re-election. It's his disapproval is above 50%. If Democrats invoke impeachment proceedings, guess what? They're going to lose that disapproval rating because it's going to drop below 50%, and he's flat out going to win re-election because people want them to move on with other business, not this.
Yeah, I think people also, and it's not a legal thing, but a lot of regular folks are just wondering how someone could obstruct a non-existing crime in the first place. And President Trump did all of this was out in the open, right? He tweeted every single day about his displeasure with this whole probe. Leslie, Ford, thank you both very much.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Hey.